So, can we start what we're drinking with the first of what will be many mea culpas?
Sure, of course.
So, last time when you asked me what I was drinking, I said what I was drinking. You asked if I was drinking it straight, and I got confused with straight and neat.
Oh, yeah.
Where neat means
no ice, yeah.
No ice.
No
right?
water,
and
yeah.
No water, no ice, just the drink.
Right.
And so that's what I thought you meant. And you said, are you drinking it straight? And I was like, no, I'm just drinking with ice.
No, it's all good, man.
But I was like, but then I went back and I listened to it again. And then I was like, wait a second, I heard the wrong word. So what will be the first of many, a recurring segment? We'll need a sound, probably a visual. Mike fucks up and says the wrong thing and says, I'm sorry. But I want to tell you something. I say I'm sorry once I know that I've done something wrong. That's important to me. So I am sorry. Jay.
That's good. No problem. You're welcome. And no, I mean, whatever, you're forgiven. I don't even know what to say. It's fine. I don't care. The main thing is you're enjoying your beverage. That's what I care about.
I really enjoyed that beverage, and I'm going to find out if I enjoy rye whiskey, because what I'm drinking tonight is Woodford Reserve rye whiskey. Now, I love me some regular Woodford Reserve bourbon. I don't know if it's regular. I call it regular because that's what I regularly drink.
Yeah.
But I'm trying the rye tonight.
That sounds fantastic. So my understanding of having taken a pretty deep dive into the bourbon world earlier, like craft bourbon earlier this year. So for it to be bourbon, it's got to be at least 51% corn, the mash bill, meaning that the mixture,
okay.
51, yeah. I think that's right, 51% corn. So it's the Woodford Reserve bourbon. If that is, I guess it is a bourbon. That would be the mash bill is mostly corn. However, so if it's rye, though, when they say rye whiskey, that means that more than half of the mash bill is rye.
Interesting.
I like rye. I like rye whiskey a lot. The rye that we tried in that deep dive into the bourbon world was it was Sazerac rye, and so it was this kind of craft made, lovely. Are you liking it? You just tasted it, right?
It's really good, but I just got stuck on Sazerac. That sounds biblical. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a character from Leviticus, and I say character.
Could be. Yeah, that was like a minor prophet, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of the minor prophets. That's right.
Yeah. No, we're blaspheming. We're blaspheming pretty hard because the Sazerac is it's a mixed drink. It's a cocktail that is that's high, like strongly associated with New Orleans. And so, but there's the company called Sazerac, and like I think they make like Fireball, like that's their big moneymaker, I think.
Interesting. Is it true that Fireball, what do they say? Fireball, it's like 40% like gasoline or something stupid, or rocket fuel. I mean, I used to really like Fireball, and then people will be like, "Oh, Mike, it's all paint thinner," and I'm like, "What are you even talking about? It can't be, right? There's FDA, there's all sorts of things."
That can't be true. That's like drinking cheap beer. It's like $1. You get, when I was in college, you get $1 beer, and then the rumor went around that beer had formaldehyde in it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It didn't.
It's like they went to the local high school, and like they went to the science classroom where they were dissecting the pigs, right? And they just took the leftover formaldehyde, made your cheap beer,
exactly.
Pig's beer left in it. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't put formaldehyde in beer normally. So
okay, well that's good to hear. Yeah.
Well, cool. So we're talking about the worlds of sales, marketing, technology, business strategy, entrepreneurship, and how they interact. That is, and also bourbon and rye whiskey. So also
bourbon and rye whiskey. Well, and in other beverages that elevate the spirits.
Yes, literally. So so what I'm drinking, I'm literally drinking water. I know I'm terrible. I know it's a happy hour, but here's the deal. Like, I'm storing up. The holidays are such that, like, I know I'm going to probably overconsume. I'm going to drink a little bit. I'm probably going to eat a lot. I don't want to, but it just happens. That's part of the holiday experience. So I like to be austere for the week or so leading up to the big event. So like on Christmas, when I eat half of a ham myself and, other stuff, like I got the room for it, You got
the room for it.
I'm building up to like my annual cheat day. It's my diet cheat day, Christmas. So
right. Yeah. Well, if you're too austere though, your stomach will shrink and you won't be able to eat as much.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not the message.
No.
That's not the message you want to hear going into this, right? I'm not being very encouraging for you on your austerity.
That's all right.
So I should encourage your austerity.
It's not like, I mean, I could handle having my stomach shrink a little bit. It's like not like that's going to put me out or anything. I'm not dying of starvation over here. So I think.
But you are looking very good. You're looking.
Thank
svelte.
you very much. Appreciate that. That's very kind. Yeah, I'm doing. You grow the beard. If you grow the whole thing with the long beard is it elongates your face. So if you have a chubby face like mine, it makes the face look longer.
I shaved my beard and I feel like my cheeks are much chubbier, and I think, oh man, I need to grow
Whatever.
that shit back.
You're the handsomest man in enterprise software sales. We've already established that. So
hey man, I appreciate that. Let's get that official. Let's get in the
I'll get a plaque. I'll get you a plaque.
That would be great. I'll hang it up behind me.
Awesome. Cool. So where are we starting?
Well, very interesting and huge story, huge implications is, and it's being referenced a couple different ways, but one of the ways it's being referenced is the SolarWinds hack of the federal government, right? And so it's kind of hard to keep all of this in place in my mind because there's a lot of words and a lot of names that are thrown around, right? So it's the SolarWinds hack, and what they provide is, I believe, a security solution, kind of a managed service where they're helping to secure applications. And what has happened over a long period of time is that some bad actors in overseas, I think likely Russia, found a backdoor into this application, and it's pretty sophisticated. My understanding is that from what I've read, which hasn't been every article out there, but it's some of the articles out there, is that they infiltrated like the code building process itself. They found some kink in the security armor. And then from there, we're able to access a number of different federal government systems and get access to data. So it's not entirely clear what the ultimate outcome implications of this will be. But it is absolutely clear that this is major. There's major security implications, and that this is big. And I just read, it just came out, so I haven't read all the details. I've just read like the headlines that Microsoft is imposing some sort of like Death Star type response to this hack, where, in my limited knowledge of Star Wars is that the Death Star can destroy a planet, right? So I don't know what planet they're planning on destroying in their response, but this is big, right? And so one of the challenges in the world of sales, technology, marketing, entrepreneurship, and all of that is the need to protect data, to keep data secure. And the challenge is you have the requirement, the expectation from your customers to do this thing, which is enormously complicated. I mean, enormously, stupidly complicated because of how sophisticated our software systems are that exist in the world today, right? And that sophistication means that there are so many ways, because we're all connected together, there are so many ways you can access a backdoor. The convenience of having our data where we can access it just about anywhere in a variety of ways and a variety of methods, that convenience at the same time dramatically increases our vulnerability. Yeah. And so the benefit versus the cost is not something we think about every day. And what's interesting is this is a purely what I would, just think of as this is a technical hacking, right? There's also a lot of just social engineered hacking, right? You call someone and pretend to be someone else and you get money transferred to an account, right? Just recently I was helping a family member set up an Amazon Prime account on like a Roku TV device, right? And if you search for, it was like, Amazon Prime My TV or whatever that link is, well, the first thing that comes up, if you search it instead of typing in the URL, it's not the link to where you're supposed to go. It's an ad. Someone's bought an ad, and you click on that, and then you put in your information, and now they've just skimmed your information, right? And so that's what just happened. And so it's like, well, what's the next step on this? This is confusing. I take a look at the phone. I'm like, oh, wait. I mean, that's a hack right there. So I think about the complexity of the world we live in and how quickly, oftentimes, and casually we embrace our interconnectedness without really truly understanding the implications of that connectedness, right?
Yeah.
So that's my opening thought. I hope I'm not being a major downer here.
No, but it's kind of interesting.
That's the thought.
No, there are. It's really kind of interesting you brought that up, just because we're getting, like, I get just a couple days ago, one of my employees got a phishing email that was posing as me, trying to get them to, like, do something to compromise basically their system. So they literally, these people found my name. They knew kind of the position that I had with the company, and then started emailing my people like, "Hey, you need to click on this. Hey, I'm the boss. You need to click on this." Just it's, no matter, there's always going to be people that are going to try to act unscrupulously. But I think you're absolutely right. And it's kind of actually sort of dovetails with some things I've been thinking about lately. I'm feeling like I'm personally going back to a little bit more of a tactile kind of analog world, like books. Like I've started buying physical books again. I didn't used to do that. So I've got like physical books that I'm reading. I'm even thinking about taking my organizational system back to the old, like, paper planners that really served me well, 10 years ago. I don't know, but I mean, I think that all of that thing, what you're talking about, that connectedness and the negative parts of it, will cause a rebound, will cause a reaction.
Right.
Back to things like what I'm feeling, like wanting to go back to pen and paper.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny you say that, because for the first time in years, I took out a pen and a pad of Post-its, and I wrote down to-dos on Post-its with a pen yesterday. And it wasn't because of all this. I just felt like, man, there's so much that's moving so fast. And that just felt so interesting, right? And felt like, oh man, so old school. And at the same time, holy cow, this was so helpful to have that lined out on my desk, that visual reminder, that stimulus, right? But what I think about when I think about security and connectedness and all the rest of this is I think about Battlestar Galactica. So I don't know if you watched, not the old Battlestar Galactica, but the new one. I don't know. Did you watch that?
A little bit of it. My wife was more of a fan, but I'm generally aware of there were Cylons, and there are some that look human, and there's like they have numbers. There's like a Model 1, Model 3. There's one of them that's blonde, Bombshell, that talks to the smarmy doctor or something. Scientist. I don't know. Did I get it right? Is that the Cliff Notes version? Do I get an A?
That's 100% correct. You get an A.
Sweet. Awesome.
Well, so what happens in like the very first episode, and it's so crazy and traumatic, right? The very first episode is the aliens, this alien race has basically infected the computer systems, the networked computer systems. And every major battleship that they have in their in their celestial kind of grouping of starships, right? There are these battleships that they have. Everyone except for Battlestar Galactica is networked. Battlestar Galactica is the only one that thinks and is aware of the danger of everyone being connected, right? So they're off the network, right? So what happens in this first episode is because they infiltrate the network, they're able to take down every ship in the human race, and basically, if I remember right, destroy planet Earth. And so the only people who survive are the people who are off the network, right? So thinking about that, thinking about the security of having some degree of separation, some degree where you're not totally connected and open to everything else, right? I think there's a lot of wisdom there. And it's not necessarily you apply to every facet of your life, but that ability to insulate yourself from an exterior attack, right? So this isn't a security show. It's mostly about sales, marketing, technology, but the technology side about that and how that affects businesses and business strategy. So how are you as a business ensuring that you are insulated, right, from some sort of penetration, right, from a external factor? So that to me is a very interesting question that a lot of folks are really concerned about. And it's not something I would have been concerned about, 5 years ago. It's not something I would have thought about. But as I think about entrepreneurship, what are the things that I would do starting a business to ensure that, first of all, I'm taking in as little protected information, whether it be financial information, personal information, whatever it might be, as possible, and making sure that if it does, it's done in the most secure way possible. So those are key things for folks to think about and consider as they go forward. And being in sales, making sure that as you're having sales conversations with folks, being really sensitive and appreciative of that, the sensitive nature of that information. So it's what's on my mind tonight.
It's really interesting. So let me see if I understand what you're saying. If I can try to, I'm going to use this. This is the, the old sales where you try to summarize back to the person who told you this. So so we understand, you clarify that you actually do understand what you said. So this is what I understand. So you watched Battlestar Galactica, right?
I did.
And now you're shopping for survivalist cabins in Wyoming.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
You got it absolutely right. Where do I sign the order form, Jake Fisher?
Are you working on a manifesto?
I'm not, but I'm wearing a hoodie and tinkering around.
Oh,
so.
Lord have mercy.
No.
No, and those are really, as a business owner, man, I think about those things a lot. Like we work hard to lock stuff down, to be as cognizant as possible of all of those kinds of things, all of those, because we do sometimes deal with sensitive client information, and you gotta lock that stuff down. Yep,
absolutely. Yep.
So do we want to talk at all about the chicken nuggets?
I really want to hear what you have to say about chicken nuggets, Jake.
So the story came out, I don't know, it was a week or two ago, that the very first lab-grown chicken nuggets are going on sale in Singapore.
Okay.
So
lab-grown
meat, chicken nuggets.
Yes. So does that mean that in a lab they grew an actual chicken and then turned it in chickens? What does that mean?
I don't think so. I think what that means, and I'm like not a scientist, and I'm aware of my limitations, and I got a lot of them, so I don't really completely understand. But my understanding of it is they figured out a way to actually create lab grow the meat portion of it, but there's no animal associated.
Like literally in a petri dish, or like in a bag, like a placenta,
I have no idea,
a biomedical placenta.
I don't say that word. I don't even know what that word is. That word scares me.
Ask your wife.
I will. She'll tell me. No. But here's the thing. This is the question that I have about this. It's like, so this makes total sense to me, because really? we've been eating chicken nuggets forever. Like McDonald's, I think, was remember the McNugget? That was huge. So we've been eating these freaking chicken nuggets forever and ever and ever, that are allegedly coming from real chickens. Yet when I see a chicken out in the wild just clucking around, walking around, I see no nuggets on those chickens.
You don't see any nuggets. Oh, that's a good point.
I think that all of the chicken nuggets up to this point have been lab grown, and they're finally just breaking it to us in the public, because we're ready for it now.
We need to call the Associated Press. This is breaking news.
This is breaking news.
Right? Well, so I'm gonna. There's your conspiracy theory about the nuggets.
Be serious. Yeah.
Here's my conspiracy theory back. Right, about why I would. I'm actually, in my heart of hearts, very extremely opposed to this idea, and here's why. And it's related to the first topic. Any one system that can control so much and is so connected and can be infiltrated and manipulated, I'm hesitant. I'm wary of that. Right. So if a bad actor gets in, if a bad actor like poisons a chicken, right? There's one chicken that's poisoned, right?
Right.
If a bad actor poisons the chicken growing plant that grows chicken nuggets in petri dishes or placentas or whatnot, right?
Why do you kind of keep saying that word, man? If
they inject some cyanide into the umbilical cord that they're using to grow these fake nuggets, right? That to me, like the scale, right? The scale with which our world lives today, like, ooh, that's my first reaction. So I'd be like, how in the world are they locking down the security on that? That's what I want to know.
I think you have to have a distributed system. You have to have a distributed chicken nugget farm system that are not connected together. So you got 100 chicken nugget farms, labs or whatever, all around the world. And so they'd have to get all 100 of them.
There you go. So
that's my...
And I think that's a good model. I think it's a good model for a lot of things.
I think the fake chicken nugget lab people should hire us.
Really?
Yeah, and for just consulting this wisdom that we're giving them. This is brilliant.
I wonder, how does PETA feel about fake chicken nuggets being grown?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Do they love it? Right? Because the fake chicken nuggets, I'm assuming when they're making the meat, they're not making the nerves, right? They're not making the pain nerves. They're not. Right. They're not making the brain, so there's not consciousness. Right. There's not sentient, the ability to be sentient. So I would think it would resolve a lot of the factors. There's not probably, cruelty, right, of the major factory farms, right? Yep. So I would imagine that this would be something that would be embraced.
Yeah, you would think.
And so I actually went not too deep, but I went a little deep in this world in college and read several books around the about animal ethics, animal rights, animal liberation, that whole concept. So, some of the other things that folks think about is how much resources does it take to grow each animal, right? How much water does it take to make a cow, right? And I think I remember the analogy being you could float a battle cruiser with the amount of water it takes to grow a cow over its lifetime.
Wow.
Right. And so I'd be curious to know, like, how much water, how much resources does it take to make fake chicken nuggets versus real chicken nuggets? That would be an interesting follow on.
Yeah, no, that is very interesting. And one would hope that it's more efficient. That's kind of the point. That's the whole point of business, is to do things more efficiently as much as we can, and I'll be honest with you, I think that going back to our conversation last time we talked about how I feel like that you have significantly more purpose in your life than I do. So I'm like seriously, no, we talk about the Dan Pink thing. Like, you need three things. You need autonomy to do your job, freedom, autonomy. You need mastery. You need to have the ability to be able to do the things you need to get done, get your tasks done. And you need purpose, like a reason. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you have a lot of purpose in your life, because that is something that you spent time on. So when you're listening to this story about the chicken nuggets, like the fake chicken nuggets or whatever, you're thinking, okay, there's a purposeful part here. What I think about is, I wonder how those chicken nuggets taste.
I wonder if
those chicken nuggets taste like they came from a lab.
I wonder if they're betting with honey mustard or barbecue sauce.
Exactly. Right? And let me, is the honey mustard lab grown too?
Yeah.
These are the things I think about, which really I think is a great illustration of how you're a really great purpose-driven person and I'm really not.
Well, or we could think of it as, together we have a much more complete and well-rounded picture of the universe than separate.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Like, I feel like we're right now, like there's a person standing between us, and you're in one ear, I'm in the other one. You're wearing white, I'm wearing red. I got a pitchfork, you've got a halo.
Everyone's got to eat. Everyone wants to eat good food.
That's
right.
True.
That's a good question. I
agree.
Am I curious how they taste? Absolutely. Would I eat some with you? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. We'll order them. We'll see if we can get them. That'll be fun.
We probably have to get a shipping container, to get them from China, wherever they are, to get over here. So we'd have to order like 8,000.
I don't know. I bet they could FedEx it to us. Don't you think?
You think so?
Yeah. FedEx. I think they go to Singapore.
Really? It might be.
Oh, yeah.
It might be cheaper and easier for us to just do our first remote show from China and visit the chicken creation factory.
No, Singapore. It's not China. Singapore.
Oh, Singapore. My apologies.
Singapore. Yeah, Singapore. Yeah. So, move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is I'm interested to hear what you think about this. What do you think about, so the Spanish government, there's a proposal that they're floating, and we'll see if this passes. Like, it's one of those things where, anybody that's in their legislature can file any kind of bill. So, but the idea is interesting, and I've got a couple of perspectives on it. The first is, the story is, Spanish government is considering incentivizing businesses with tax credits and other kinds of financial incentives to go to a 4-day work week. What do you think about a 4-day work week?
So I'm trying to decide which approach to get into it first. So one thought, the first thought that came to my mind, right? When you said tax credits to do this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm wondering on an average weekday versus an average workday, of those two, which day generates more tax revenue for a government? Do people spend more money on weekend in ways that generate revenue for, local municipalities, state governments, federal entities? Which one generates more tax revenue? Because if the weekend generates more tax revenue and you incentivize people to basically have 3-day weekends instead of 2-day weekends, mm-hmm. Is there some break-even point where you're getting that money back? Right. That would be maybe a sophisticated macroeconomics. Maybe if they have a theory that says this is part of how we fund this, that would be very interesting. I don't know. So that was my first thought. I don't know if they've done that planning. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like kind of my thoughts on it are, I'm looking at it from the perspective of an employer, and I would love to do that. I think I like the idea, generally speaking, of for some businesses. Like, not all businesses can do this. I mean, you can, but there's going to be some additional payroll, but if you're a retail outlet, those still exist apparently. A retail outlet, and you have to be staffed like all the time. I mean, 24-hour Walmart, or if you're open 12 hours, like there's going to be some additional expense associated with that. But one thing I do like about it that's interesting to me is that I feel like that one of the biggest challenges in our industry that we run into, and I think you've probably seen this too, is competition for the very best talent, the best employees, like the best team. And it's, it's cutthroat. And so, it's one of the things, like, we work really hard on company culture and making sure that we're treating people right, and we pay well. And like, we want to make sure that we're taking good care of the folks that are taking care of our customers, which in turn means I can make a living. So, but if a 4-hour work week would make us more competitive in the, like, a job market, just as a business owner, not as it being forced on, or not as it being like like everybody's got to do it, apart from the idea that there's a government program potentially associated with it, I think it's got some potential. This is what I think would happen, though. I feel like it would turn into, for a lot of businesses, especially those with, and I'm thinking from the U.S. perspective, like exempt employees. So not the folks that are working on an hourly basis. Yeah. But I think the exempt employees, the folks with managerial, and they have to make us above a certain amount of money, like those people, those exempt employees, what that's going to look like is it'll look like 4 days of work, 10 hours long. Right.
Well, so here's the other side of here's the other thing I'm thinking about, not necessarily the other side of that.
Sure.
Right. So I'm gonna overshare. And then I'm gonna apologize for oversharing. And then
hold on, I'm taking notes.
And then I'm gonna talk about being in the services industry and how it's very challenging for services industry.
Yeah.
So when do I do my most important work as a salesperson whose whole job is to talk to my high value prospects? When do I do my most important work? Whenever the prospects talk to me, right? So this morning, 7 a.m., in the bathtub soaking, I am doing some of the most important productive work of the day, because that's when folks have time. They're engaging with me. We're sending multiple messages back and forth. I'm scheduling meetings. I'm getting calendar appointments that are extremely high value. My most important work of the entire day today, 7 a.m. in the bathtub, right? So 4-day work. Oh, I think you don't.
Yeah, you don't tell the prospects as you're on the phone with them that you're in the bathtub.
No, that's how I get the appointments. I'm FaceTiming with them. All right. I'm here in the bathtub. Here's my suds.
It all is coming clear now.
Right. Understood. Exactly. I have no actual sales skills. I just
the handsomest man in enterprise software.
I'm just very inappropriate.
Understood. Perfect.
No. So what does a 4-day work week mean to me? Well, man, if I'm doing business in an international world and I'm having to deal with folks all over, right? I mean, not even time zones really make a big deal with where I work. I shouldn't be poo-pooing this idea. It's probably a really great idea. There's probably a lot of great reasons, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think selfishly from the sales perspective, right? Because I'm still going to work whenever the prospects say,
right,
are going to want to engage with me, right? And I'm going to try to be healthy, and I'm trying not to do it when I'm around family and all the rest of that, right? So that's one challenge. Here's the second challenge. I work in the services world, right? Software development, consulting services, right? So how do we make money? We make money by billing, time and effort, hourly rates, right? And so are we billing the same number of hours per week, but in 4 days? Can we do that? Can you, especially if you're doing deep work that requires deep thinking, can you just squeeze more deep thinking out of 1 day? No, you really can't. You're actually less productive, especially in like creator type roles, right? Where you need to be highly productive thinking. I mean, can you just add 2 more hours of software development time? They're just as effective. I don't think so. Right. No. So I think there's I think there's probably a whole lot of societal benefits. I think the challenge with the idea is that I don't think there's a one size fits all approach.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. And when you're talking about kind of your most productive time talking, you're at the mercy of the schedules of other people. And that's how it is. I have a similar situation. Like I say, anytime I mark down like next week or week after next, the week between Christmas and New Year's, I'm like, I put it on the calendar, Jake's out, vacation calendar, Jake's out. And then it's always and then the little comments say tentative because I'm never really totally out, Like,
if someone says, "Hey, Mike, will you send that contract to me? I'm ready to sign today."
Yeah, you probably get out of the bathtub for that, right?
No, we get DocuSign, man. Piece of cake.
Oh, you don't have to get out of the bathtub.
No, man. Why would I get out of the bathtub?
You're making paper in the jacuzzi.
Because I'm going to celebrate and then just get back in the bathtub.
Nice. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
This is a new recurring segment called Mike Overshares.
I love it. Where I'm adding it to the list. It's going on the program. So
good.
Hey, one last one. This is kind of one last piece of news. It's sort of related actually to the first one you talked about, the solar winds, and that is kind of talking about internet security. Google went down for 45 minutes on Monday. Mm-hmm. It was their I forgot what it's called. It's the validation or verification or the authentication. Yes, thank you. That one. Yep. The authentication system went down for like 45 minutes. And it was in the morning for me, like really early. And I was up.
4 a.m., yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was up. And I was like, and so I'm going to overshare for a second. First thing that I do in the morning when I get up is make that cup of coffee. And I sit down and actually watch some YouTube stuff. There's stuff on YouTube I like to watch every day.
Yeah.
And so my YouTube didn't work. It ruined my freaking Monday.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't much of an overshare. I feel like there's more that you were going to share than you held back, and that's fine. You don't. Well,
I didn't tell you because I didn't tell you what I watch on YouTube.
Oh. There's so much mystery there. So what's interesting about that Google outage being down? I bet a lot of people thought they were fired because
I wonder. That's funny. I didn't think about that.
I bet a lot of people thought, "Oh shoot, my email's down. Yeah. I can't get to my calendar. Did I get fired and I don't know it?"
They fired me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But that was the first thing that went through my mind as, I'm texting with some folks who can't get into their work email. They're like, I can't get in my work email. Can you? And I'm like, oh, shoot. What happened?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare for Google to go.
Yeah.
On one of those
services. Oh, I know. That's the thing that shocked me. I was like,
unsurprisingly, they were back pretty quick. I mean, it was 2 or 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, the report that I read in India Today, like those Indian newspapers, they said 45 minutes is what it was. So that's what they're reporting, but it seemed like it was longer than that.
Yeah. It was, yeah. And so, but by about the time most folks were waking up, it had already gone and passed.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
It was those early risers and hard workers in sales like us who do nothing but check our email and hope people email us back.
That's awesome. It's interesting you say early risers. I've never been that naturally. I was always a late night person. I was always most productive, like at 2 or 3 in the morning. The world's quiet and I could be most creative during that time. But when I made that career shift into sales, kind of out of creative work and into just really being a sales guy, I stopped doing that, and I started forcing myself to get up early, no matter how unpleasant it was to me and horrible. And And it's kind of interesting. I've started going back to being more of a late night, early riser. It hasn't been as important. I think actually the work from home has done that because, if I have a 9 o'clock meeting before, I was up, usually by 5:30 or 6, and I would be working by 7:30 to get ready for everything. And then I had that first call at 9. Well, I'll work and prep the night before now, do all that morning work, and literally will pop out of bed at 8:45, comb my hair, throw on a collar, turn the lights on, turn the Zoom on, and I am large and in charge. And I literally had gotten up 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. That's
thank
awesome.
God Zoom does not have smell-o-vision.
Oh man. Whew. Smell-o-vision.
Buddy.
But it's
I would
coming
not
soon.
sell much. Sell much.
It's coming soon, so you better watch out.
Yeah.
But that's one of the benefits of working home, and also, one of the drawbacks for personal hygiene is that you don't have to be around other people.
That's true. You don't. Not unless you want to.
Yeah. Hey,
well, cool,
if we're wrapping up, do you have a closing technique to help us close out? If not,
technique.
I can talk about it's not
do it. Yes.
Closing technique.
I got no closing techniques. I'm a terrible closer. I get no coffee.
You get no coffee?
No coffee, yeah.
But you get water.
Yeah, plenty.
Good. Got to hydrate. So here's one closing technique.
Okay.
And it's something that is basic, but it's hard to do, right? Just like any closing technique, because if it's hard to do, it's hard to feel like you're putting somebody on the spot, right?
Yep.
But one of the most important, effective things to do is that you're not going to close a deal every call. But if you get to the end of the call and you need another call before you're going to close the deal, what you need to do is close the next meeting. And so it's something that people really struggle to do or have a hard time doing. And I'm not always consistent with it. But best case scenario, at the end of the call, if you know that it's not a no, and if you know that somebody wants some more information or they want some time to think it over, or if they've got to run it through their approval chain, what you do at the end of that meeting is you close the next meeting. If we're still good, when should we get in touch again?
Yeah,
I've got time X, Y, Z. Give them 3 options or whatever it might be. Right? Do you have your calendar open? Can you pull your calendar up? Let's go ahead and put it on the calendar now so we don't forget. We might get busy, might get past us, and then when you close that, and just to make sure I know, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to come back with, right? Mm-hmm. And get that in the calendar invite as well. Is there anyone else who needs to be there, right? Getting really good and specific about closing that next appointment, that next conversation is really critical.
Yeah. Oh, I would agree. You take it a lot further. Like for me, it was always like what they taught us. And I did like old school training. Like I did sales training. Like it was very different. And you take it a lot further and actually really much smarter about it than I think the way that I was taught. The way that they taught me really early on is that no matter when you were in that first meeting or second meeting and you were, you didn't walk out without setting the next meeting on the calendar. Like you got your calendar out and it was just like assumed, like, old paper planner, like, okay, so a week from today, same time, is that good? Or but I like how you take it further by talking about, okay, so what are our deliverables essentially in the meeting? Like, what are you going to bring? What am I going to bring? How is, in order to move this ball forward to get us towards your solution, because we're selling a solution to them. So
yes. And it's good to start with, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. Based on all the things we talked about, you want a little bit more information on this, this, and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to do this, this, and this. Sounds like based on our call, you need to do this, this, and that. Do you think by this time you're going to have enough time to do that and we can talk about it? Right. And so it can be really uncomfortable to tell someone what they're going to do or what they said they were going to do to verify they're going to do it. But you know what's going to happen? If they come back and they get to the end, they're like, well, I'm not sure if and you're like, okay, this deal's done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
That's good.
And that happened to me. A guy at the beginning of the meeting earlier this week was, we need to get the MSA in place. We need to get the NDA in place. We need to do all that stuff. So I get to the end of the call and I'm like, okay, do you want to have your legal department send us the NSA that you had referenced? Oh, well, we're not quite ready for that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Good one. Mike, this is fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. This is good. Hey, I want to give one little plug. So just because I'm just trying to, it's totally self-serving. Where I source news, and where I think is a fantastic place to source news, is an outlet called The Factual. If you've seen this, Mike, The Factual is really awesome. The thing that I love about it is that it provides for the big stories of the day. There's an email I get every day. The big stories of the day. It covers the story, provides coverage of the story in a way that presents it's going to be multiple outlets, and it also provides an assessment of, generally speaking, what that particular media outlets like how they tend to be biased or perspective from like a potentially political perspective. So, you'll see like the same, like for instance, today, the stories about the vaccine, various vaccines that we're getting, that's the big, was the big story for a while. There'll be that story, but then there'll be three versions, one from, an outlet that they feel is, moderately left, one that's going to be kind of center, one that might be moderately right. And they also spend a lot of attention to make sure that the, to be able to give a credibility assessment of the individual pieces. And so I really like that one. So this is the total selfish part. If somebody signs up for it via my link, then I get like a coffee mug. And I'm asking you to get Jake a coffee mug by going to jake.ist/news. Jake.ist/news. So it looks like Jakist. Jake.ist/news.
Wait, can I say that one more time? Jake.ist/news?
Yes.
Okay, I've written it down.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me. I'm just trying to get I just need the coffee mug, man.
Man, I hope you get it. I hope you get so many signups they send you the t-shirt too.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, Mike, are we done?
We're done, man.
That was fun.
Had a lot of fun.
Me too. Okay. Sorry.